Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today, as you can tell from the title, I am challenging myself to go 30 days with no processed sugar. So for those of you who may or may not know, I have quite the sweet tooth. It's not anything insane. I know that there are probably people out there with worse sweet tooths than I have, but it is something that I'm like, I need to get a better handle on this. And so whenever I identify an area of weakness, an area that I can improve upon, I typically like to challenge myself in some way to help better get things under control. I don't eat sweets every single day. It's maybe like 2 to 5 times per week. But if you really look at the types of sugars that we're going for, especially the types of things that I like to eat, I like everything from cakes, pies, so primarily baked goods, so cookies, brownies. I do love ice cream. I won't even embarrass myself here on this channel, but I love me a nice baked good, okay? One of my go-tos lately has been banana pudding, and I'm like a snob when it comes to my banana pudding. I don't want too many bananas, but I want bananas. I don't want too many vanilla wafers, but I want enough. Like, I want the crunch. I don't want my vanilla wafers to be too soft. Like, I want them to have a little bit of crunch and texture to them. So yeah, even thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. But the bottom line is, I know that it's an unhealthy habit, and I want to do better in that area. And before you guys start saying there's healthier alternatives, I am aware that there are healthier alternatives for all of my favorite sweet treats. I honestly have just not made that transition to trying them out and making them on my own. So maybe that's something that we'll explore here on this channel. I'm just talking about where I sit currently. I'm interested to see, as I cut out processed sugar from my diet, if I start to have those withdrawal symptoms. I know a question that I'll get is, why 30 days? So I know we've all heard that 21 days, it takes 21 days to form a habit. I don't necessarily believe that. I think that habits need more time. I think 21 days is a good time period. But for me, just for ease, I picked 30 days. It was longer than 21 days. I really do feel like going 30 days for me is a big challenge. I don't know that I've ever gone 10 days without any processed sugar, like intentionally making an effort not to have processed sugar. And that says a lot now that I think about it. But this year I told myself I am going to push my boundaries a little bit within reason, but I really want to challenge myself and challenge everyone watching to make healthier lifestyle choices. Something that's important for me in general is that when I look back at my life last year, the year before that, 5 years ago, I like to see that I've made an intentional effort to create the type of person that I want to be, to cultivate the type of habits that I would like to have. So I want to see that I really did steer my life in the direction that I wanted it to go in. And y'all, I don't know why. I feel like I needed to challenge myself. I didn't want to keep pushing the start date back. So I didn't plan it this way, but it just so ended up being that I am going to be doing this challenge at a very tempting time period in my life. So number one, I am starting this in the month of February, in the month of love, in the month of sweets, right? The chocolate covered strawberries, all of the Ferrero Rochers, the assorted chocolate gift boxes, all of the things, cupcakes, red velvet, this and that. So that's going to be difficult to resist temptation, but I know that I can do it. So outside of Valentine's Day and the month of love, also this month is my son's birthday. We are having a birthday party for him, so there's obviously going to be cake and ice cream and other little sweet treats that I will also need to resist. So that's going to be another big challenge. My son has a kid's birthday party coming up, and so there's going to be cake and things of that nature there. So another temptation for me to face. But I told myself that I want to start and I don't want to keep putting it back. I could start this at the beginning of March, but I'm like, nope, there's no better time than the present. It's a challenge for sure. So I'm just going to put my head down and really focus and get this thing done. So in all honesty, I haven't really taken too much time to like sit and think about like, how do I want to set myself up for success? Honestly, my game plan that I've had in my head is just don't eat the things that I know I shouldn't eat. And I plan on kind of relying more on fruits. So I plan on just buying a ton of fruit and just kind of consuming that when I want something sweet. So we'll see how it goes. And then I know Pinterest is going to be something that I rely on as well, just to really, I know there's going to be moments where I want something sweet and a fruit is not going to cut it. And so I want to have something that I can have, be it like a chia seed, like parfait or something like that, just so I can have for those moments, so that I don't give in to temptation. So I will be taking you guys along for the ride. I have to give myself grace and just be gentle with myself, but also a little bit of tough love with myself. So I'm taking you guys along for the journey. Here we go.
All right, y'all. Here for another update. Today is day 16. Yay! I came on here because I was like, I need to be honest. I need to be very transparent about something that happened. So day 13, which was Saturday, I had a little bit of cake. I didn't cheat. It was intentional. I thought about it while I was driving. Like, I gotta go home. I gotta throw this cake in the car. I was at a kid's birthday party for my son, and I saw the cake. I saw all the treats. I was like, nope, I'm not touching it. I'm not doing any of it. When it was time to go, I am a friend of the mom, so I was like, let me help you, get everything together. She needed help cutting the cake and like putting it in to-go containers. And she's like, please take some, like just take some. There's so much left. The cake looked so soft, y'all. At first I was like, no, I'm not going to take any. But then she kept saying, no, take some, take some. So I took some, and my plan was, you know what? When you get home, just throw it in the trash, sprinkle some water on it, do something to where you don't eat it. And I got home, I took it out the bag to throw it away, and I was like, let me just taste a little bit. So I didn't eat the whole thing, but I did eat some cake on Saturday, long story short. So that was day 13. Today is now day 16. I haven't had anything since then. So yeah, a part of me is like, do I start all the way over? And I'm like, no, you're gonna make it to day 30, and then you'll make a decision from there. So just updating you guys.
Hey y'all, so y'all know that I had my hiccup, and that was 7 days ago. And I was like, I'm not going to start over. I'm not going to start 30 days all the way over and just throw away essentially 12 days of no processed sugar. But this morning I was taking a shower, and I was like, I'm going to start over from the day that I messed up. So today is officially day 7, me restarting my 30-day no processed sugar journey. And the reason why I chose to do that is just because on my heart this morning was discipline, and that sometimes we're not doing the things that we need to do consistently enough to see results. And so literally that quickly I was like, no, I'm going to reach 30 days consistently, 30 days straight. That was the goal from the beginning. So today is day 7, and yeah, I got a long way to go, but this time knowing that I've already had to start over, it makes me that much more committed. So let's see how this journey keeps going. Drum roll. We made it. I made it to 30 days, no processed sugar, and let's talk about it. So before we jump in, just a quick reminder, if you're not already following me over on Instagram, follow me there. I'll link my handle here on the screen. And as always, if you like this video so far, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and share with anyone else who may be interested. I know one of the biggest questions that I'll get is, what were my results? Now, some people have asked me, like, are you doing it to lose weight? Are you doing it for this, and that? And honestly, it definitely was not for weight loss. That was not a metric that I tracked. I didn't weigh myself before. I haven't weighed myself in probably the last month. I'm happy with where my weight is. This no sugar challenge was simply, let me rewind. No processed sugar challenge was simply to cultivate a healthier lifestyle habit for myself. Number one, my skin definitely improved in a beautiful way during this challenge. The takeaway and the lesson that I learned is that the foods that I eat definitely play a big role in the quality of my skin. And so for those of you who may not know, I have acne prone skin. I've had it under control for quite some time, but I still get the occasional breakout here and there. And I realized that my skin just looked a lot more relaxed and like calm, and that was really beautiful to see. It definitely seemed brighter. It didn't seem as dull, so I was really grateful for that result. So if that's something that you are looking to improve, the condition and appearance of your skin, I definitely would recommend cutting out a lot of processed sugar from your diet. Now, the second thing that I realized wasn't really something that I was anticipating, but I feel like my sleep quality improved drastically. I am someone as long as I can remember, I feel like I get decent sleep, but I do toss and turn and I move around when I sleep. Sometimes it affects me, how I feel when I wake up in the morning, and sometimes it doesn't. But me cutting out processed sugar, I was able to sleep so much better. I don't know the correlation between the two, but I definitely noticed that as a result of cutting out processed sugar from my diet. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I think number 3 ties into number 2. So number 3, it was so much easier for me to wake up in the mornings because I was so well rested. So I was getting up between 5 and 5:15, and typically on average, my goal is to be out of bed by 6 a.m. So my alarm will go off at 5. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm out of bed by 5 o'clock. Sometimes I just like to have a slow morning and take my time, but the goal is to get out of bed by 6 o'clock so I can get my workout done and everything else before my day really picks up. But with this challenge, I noticed that because I was sleeping a lot better, the quality of my sleep had improved so much. I was actually getting up out of bed, not just waking up, but getting up out of bed between 5 and 5:15 a.m. and getting my workouts done a lot sooner. I think because I was moving my body more during this time period, that was actually another reason that I was sleeping well. So I think me moving my body more on a daily basis, plus cutting out the processed sugar, kind of worked together to help improve my sleep quality. Now, some of the biggest takeaways that I would say if you're going to go about this challenge for yourself, if you want to test yourself and see, okay, I have this sweet tooth, I want to get it better under control, how can I do it? I think I'm going to challenge myself to cut out processed sugar. Here are some things that you should know that will help you out on your journey and make the process a little bit smoother. The first and the biggest takeaway is how does the saying go? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And what I mean by that is you have to come up with a way to plan out your meals. So hear me out. There's 2 parts to this. Number 1, having food on hand that you can carry around with you wherever you go is going to help decrease the likelihood that you're going to reach for something sweet that you know that you should not be having. So for instance, I would take little containers around with me. It could be a Ziploc bag where I would throw in blueberries, chopped strawberries or diced or cut strawberries, trail mix, all of the different healthy items that I was going for at the time. I would make sure that I was carrying them around with me in my purse so that if a craving hit, I would have something to lean on. The second part of that is also planning your meals during this time. So for me, I noticed a really big thing. Number 1, when I was hungry, it was kind of like this really angry situation where not only was I hungry, I was also having a craving at the same time. I noticed that, say for instance, I woke up late or was just really busy in the morning and didn't have time to get a good breakfast in, if at all. I would notice by the time lunchtime came around, not only was I hungry, but I was also craving something sweet. Compared to moments where I did have a good breakfast, a good and balanced breakfast, I noticed by lunchtime I wasn't really craving sweets as much, and also I wasn't hangry. So planning out your meals, balanced meals for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner will also help to satiate those cravings so that you're not as tempted throughout the day. Another takeaway is to stay hydrated. There's research out there that shows that the same cues that our body gets when we're thirsty mimic the cues that we get when we're hungry. So sometimes we feel hungry when in actuality we are actually just thirsty. Staying hydrated is really helpful during this challenge because you're not getting those false hunger cues. So I opted to drink anywhere between 50 and 64 ounces of water per day. I'm not somebody, admittedly, who drinks a whole gallon of water a day. That's never been my thing, at least not so far in my journey. And so I would say start where you are, individualize and tailor your hydration to where you are currently. If you're someone who, I know some of y'all have some problems drinking water, okay? So let's just say you're somebody who doesn't drink water at all. There are people out there who do not drink water at all. They don't like the taste of it, whatever the case may be, they just don't drink a lot of water. Start by challenging yourself, maybe to drink 32 to 40 ounces of water every day consistently during this challenge and outside of this challenge. We need hydration. We need to hydrate our bodies for them to function properly. And one of the other takeaways for me was out of sight, out of mind, kind of. If you're like myself and you work in an environment where food, sweets, and all of the things are typically presented on a regular, it's not uncommon for me at all, by any means, to walk into work and see a box of assorted donuts or to see any other type of unhealthy food item. Typically, patients, their family members, company representatives come in and bring us all of this food, drinks, Starbucks, bagels, all of the things. And so it's a huge temptation when you're seeing it, and if I'm being honest, just the smell of it can trigger your brain to say, let's go for it. So I think staying away from even seeing and being around unhealthy foods will help you get to your 30-day no processed sugar goal a little bit easier. And sometimes we're in those environments, but we don't have the ability to not be around it. Maybe we work in a smaller office setting. Maybe we don't have the ability to get up and move to another area of the workplace. In those instances, I think that it's important to share the challenge that we're doing with the people around us so that they can help support us. For instance, if it's an assorted box of donuts, maybe asking your coworkers like, hey, you guys enjoy, I'm really trying to commit to my no processed sugar journey right now. Do you guys mind when you're finished if we can close the box and keep it to the side, just so I'm not tempted, because I really do want one, but I'm going to try to stay committed to my goal. I really think that verbiage goes a long way with people, and they really will show a level of respect for what we're trying to do for ourselves. But would I do it again? Would I cut out processed sugar for an extended period of time again? The answer to that is absolutely yes. I would totally do it again. I know that it's an area that I struggle with and have struggled with in the past because we are turning over a new leaf. The goal is not to not have processed sugar. The goal is to reduce it significantly from where I started from. So instead, opting to maybe have sweets 2 to 3 times a month as opposed to 2 to 5 times per week. That is progress. And I know some people will say, oh my gosh, 2 to 3 times per month is still a lot. It's a step in the right direction. And I do believe that small steps do lead to big change. What were some of the alternative sweeteners that I used? Now, I don't know if some of you know or not, but almost everything that we buy at the grocery store has sugar added to it. And so the goal was not zero sugar. The goal was no processed sugar in the more obvious ways. Cookies, cakes, pies, Sour Patch Kids, all of gummy bears, all of the things. Those were the things that I wanted to stay away from. So for instance, if you go to the grocery store and you buy ketchup, ketchup has sugar in it. So it wasn't to not eat any sugar. That was not the goal. It was to cut out more of the more obvious sources of sugar, unhealthy sugars. And so some of the more healthy alternatives that I allowed were things like honey, maple syrup, dates, raisins, cranberries, those type of things. And then of course, all types of assorted fruit. I actually really enjoyed eating such a wide variety of fruits. I went to a grocery store that I don't typically go to because I thought they would have something in stock, and they didn't. But when I was there, I noticed that they had dragon fruit, and I know that I've had dragon fruit before, but I don't think I've ever bought it and taken it home and like eaten it myself. So I was really excited. I didn't know dragon fruit was so expensive. It was definitely on the pricier side. It was $10 per piece of dragon fruit. So I ended up buying two, and it was so good. So those little things excite me. I like trying different fruits, especially exotic fruits that we don't typically get year round. So that was another benefit of this challenge for me. Now, I did want to make sure that I had some type of healthy, sweet alternative just in case I had a really strong craving and fruit just wasn't cutting it. So one of my friends shared with me a no processed sugar dessert. I think she found it on TikTok, or it was like a YouTube short or something like that. And so I did end up making that. It included things like bananas, dates, walnuts. It actually ended up being really good. It's something that I will make again. I did record it, so I'll share it at some point in time, but there are definitely healthy, no processed sugar dessert items that you can get and that you can make at home. And Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of those are going to be your friend. Literally all of the things that we need to be healthy are right at our fingertips if we so choose to look for them. How did I deal with my cravings? Ooh. If I'm just going to be very honest, the cravings are going to come. The cravings are going to hit, and honestly, you just have to thug it out. There's no sugarcoating it, no pun intended. You really do just have to mentally kind of get yourself through one craving to the next. I once went to a seminar that talked about sugar and its effects on our bodies, and it said that there were studies that had been done showing that sugar was as, if not more, addicting than cocaine. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but a lot of us are addicted to sweets and to sugar, and we think that it's because we lack willpower, we lack all of these things to kind of get over it, and really it's an addictive substance. And so when you view it from that lens, it starts to sit a little bit heavier with you, and it started to really make me realize that no, I really need to get this thing under control, especially because I have family members that have diabetes, and that is working in healthcare. That is one of the disease processes that I never want to have for myself. So that's another thing, just kind of motivating and encouraging me to really stay on the path of getting this thing under control. So when dealing with cravings mentally, I'm just like, I can do hard things, I can do hard things, I can do hard things. And I can, and I did. I also created an accountability group on Instagram. I essentially asked people if they wanted to join in with me in doing the no processed sugar challenge. And there were some people who wanted to sign up too. Now, everybody had their own duration. Some people just wanted to hit 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 30 days. And so we kind of helped to encourage each other in our moments of weakness. And so that was really cool. So I think that was something that helped when I did have a craving, having an accountability group, an accountability person to fall back on and vent to and get those emotions out when you are itching for something sweet. Another thing is really just sitting with the fact that I really do believe that we can achieve anything that we want in this life. That is not to say that it's going to be easy or without challenge, but it is something that is possible. And so for me, sitting and affirming myself that I can do this, that I will do this, was also something that helped me with my cravings. Practice visualizing yourself already at the end of however long you want to cut out processed sugar for. 30 days, envision what you will feel like, the smile that will be on your face, the amount of pride that you will have that you committed to something for yourself. Visualize those things and utilize that as your motivation. And as always, tap into your why. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you have diabetes? Are you doing it because you have different health ailments and you know that this will help to improve your symptoms? Is it because you don't want to get to that point? Is it because you know that you want to do better and you want to live an overall healthier lifestyle? Tap into your reason for starting the challenge in the first place, and tap into that energy when you're starting to feel a craving, because you can overcome it. So moving forward, what am I doing now? So I definitely plan to continue reducing the amount of processed sugars that I've had. In all honesty, I'm going to share something with you guys. I'm not going to end the video just yet. I'm going to be honest and transparent. So like I said before, it's been about 7 days since the 30-day no processed sugar challenge ended for me. And since then, I've had about 3 times where I had something sweet to eat just in the past week. Okay, hold on, listen to me. So the first thing that I had, it was actually on day 31. I found out about a new local Caribbean restaurant, and I was like, oh, I want to go and support, and I want to go, see what they have available. On the dessert menu, they had like this spiced rum cake. It was a very small portion, thinly iced. I'm not an icing person, so that was attractive to me. So I said, you know what? I hit my 30 days. Let me reward myself. That's what I told myself in my head. I'm supporting a local business, and I get to reward myself. So I got the spiced rum cake. I took it home. I ate it, and it was a small portion. And about halfway through, I just felt like this is not hitting the way that I really wanted it to. It's not like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, this is the best cake that I've ever had in my life. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good, but it definitely wasn't hitting like I thought it would. And so I started to wonder, like, did my palate change? Have my taste buds changed? The second thing that I ended up having was some ice cream. And the only reason why I got it, I love banana pudding. I'm kind of like a banana pudding snob. I think I mentioned that before. And this was like a banana pudding ice cream I had never seen before. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to try this. And I didn't even finish it because it just, I don't know, it didn't taste the same. It wasn't that great. And so I was like, is it really not that great, or has my palate changed? And so I was really kind of like, this is interesting. The third thing I had, I was having a really rough day. I was just feeling very blah. So this may be a little bit too much information, but when I am on my cycle, or like right around my cycle, I do start to crave sweets. So it was around that time period. And so I went to pick up breakfast from a local restaurant, and they had a dessert menu, and they had this carrot spiced muffin. And that's typically something I would go for. There's no icing. It's not overly sweet. And even that, I ended up throwing like half of it away because I was like, I don't want to force myself to eat something that I'm not really enjoying. And so I don't know. I don't know if it's something where my taste buds have changed a little bit. I don't want to keep trying to like eat different sweets to kind of get my taste buds back to where they were. I guess it's a good thing if they have adjusted and changed and evolved in some way. But yeah, that may be something that you experience. Maybe you cut out sugar for 30 days and your taste buds change to where you don't crave it, where it doesn't taste as sweet as it once did. Another thing that I noticed is that your mind will try to come up with all different types of things to persuade you to get the sweet treat that you want. So it's been like Girl Scout season. So it's like, oh, well, I want to support the Girl Scout troop, so I'm going to buy this. And, then it's like, oh, I'll share it with my coworkers. And they're like, oh, you did. Your mind will try to convince you like, oh, you're doing such a good deed. Like, one cookie's not going to hurt. Don't use this time period to try to prove how committed and how strong you are and how much willpower you have. Make things easy for yourself. Okay. So your mind's going to try to play a couple different tricks on you to try to get you to fall prey to eating something sweet, but trust me, you are stronger than you believe. You are stronger than you know. I don't know. I feel like all in all, I was really impressed with myself for doing this journey, and it's something, like I said before, that I will continue. I really want to continue to just incorporate healthier habits in my life throughout the years. As long as I'm here on this earth, I want to make a commitment to myself to be healthier and to spread the message of health and wellness with you all. That is the whole purpose of me being here on YouTube. I want to encourage people and inspire people and motivate people to become the healthiest versions of themselves. I think if we were to do that, we would all be a lot happier. We would live more harmoniously. And honestly, I think we would start to thrive a little bit better. So thank you guys so much for watching again. As always, it's been a pleasure, and until the next video.